I think it is, yeah. I mean, TvZ, I wouldn't say. Well, maybe back during Swarm hosts, but I wouldn't say it's ever
Yeah.
been in that bad of a spot or anything. Ultra rushes and stuff were a little bit brutal like that early Legacy of the Void. But no, yeah, it's always a good matchup and definitely has great games. And as Falcon said, guys, we're going to be having ourselves a TvZ between PSiArc and RiSky. For those of you unaware, PSiArc is a Japanese Terran player. So actually our first Japanese player to have an Afreeca World, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
And RiSky is actually our first Brit.
I kind of feel like there should be more Japanese representation in StarCraft, but yeah, you're right. There just isn't a whole lot as I'm thinking about it.
There is, yeah. I guess it's sort of one of those things that, I mean, people are probably like, oh, Asian countries, so people in Korea really like StarCraft, so Japan, like in StarCraft, not that much of a stretch, but as a matter of fact, no, it's pretty much just PSiArc, because I don't think PC gaming is very popular in Japan, because it's very expensive, or imports or something weren't allowed.
Yeah, the PlayStation kind of owns that country.
Yeah,
So.
StarCraft never caught on. But we're a minute
No.
in, and we need to do introductions still. Spawning up in the top left-hand side of the map, it's PSiArc, the Japanese Terran player.
And spawning in the bottom right, he hails from England, and his name is RiSky. He is Zerg.
I guess we don't... Is he actually English? We know he's from Great Britain, but I don't know whereabouts he's actually
I'm
from.
like 80% sure he is, and it says he's British. I don't know where the heck he was born. He's got dual citizenship with New Zealand.
He's got like...
So that doesn't help.
Is he... Is that dual New Zealand citizenship he has, or
Yeah.
Australian? Because I know he played in WCSC.
Under Australia?
I guess
It's New Zealand according
okay.
to Wikipedia.
Yeah, because
yeah.
New Zealand is allowed in WCSC, of course.
Yeah.
Because they're not that far apart. But no, yeah, the funny thing about RiSky is that he actually played in WCS NA, so I think he has like triple citizenship or something.
Fantastic.
So he played in NA, and he's like, no, that didn't work. So then he went and played in WCSC because he's in Korea. And this is on the Korean server, for those of you guys that are wondering, as, yeah, basically RiSky training in Korea, and then PSiArc in Japan playing on the Korean server is doable. And talking about this game, as a matter of fact, looks like RiSky is wanting to get things started off pretty quick here. Start off and maybe finish pretty quick here, as he's going for a big old roach rush.
Yeah, we've seen that take out some really strong Terrans in the past. I've been watching Polt stream a little bit recently, and he's died to this at least a couple times in the last like 24 hours that I've seen on his stream. So yeah, you just show up with a ton of roaches and ravagers in about 5.5 minutes.
Rest in peace, that Reaper.
And then even if you have a tank, if you have some Ravagers in the mix there for the Zerg, then suddenly you're just kind of dead as a Terran. So we'll see. I'm interested to see how PSiArc responds to this. Because if you know it's coming, that helps, but I'm not sure how much warning he had. It was maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm actually a huge fan of a rush like this from the Zerg, because as Zerg makes their units, and then they pretty much instantly start droning behind it. PSiArc needs to make sure he gets that bunker up. As, oh yeah, you really got to finish that bunker if you're PSiArc. Get those Marines in there, but he actually loses a few, so loses a lot of the firepower there. Maybe not having the best start to this defense. Of course, he hasn't taken critical damage yet, but desperately trying to hold on.
Yeah, and a Roach did go down for RiSky, so it's not like PSiArc has just completely lost stuff for nothing at this point. Well, there's only one Ravager in the mix here, too, so if there were, 2 or 3, I'd be more worried about this for PSiArc, but he seems like he's gone ahead, pulled back into his main with his orbital command. There's a tank set up in great position where it's very hard to take that down.
Nice
with
shot
corrosive
there.
bile, so nicely done. Supply depot 1 might go down. Yeah,
I think he's
gonna
going to lose both, probably. RiSky can still poke this a little bit.
I think he can only really hit it.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, and then
Cool
the tank
micro.
moves. Very nice.
PSiArc putting in the work.
Yeah, I've seen some Queen micro recently with just drop lords, obviously.
Let me take a guess. Was it TLO?
It was not actually.
Oh.
It was who did I cast that was doing that? It was Xanster that maybe tried it in a game recently. Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely EU Zerg for sure.
Yeah, you can tell that's the sort of thing that they do. Now, a third base on the way for RiSky. He got some damage done, and he basically just delayed the expansion of PSiArc actually taking it. Killed off 5 SCVs. We look at the worker count. PSiArc is behind a fair bit. The question is, can he get some counter damage done?
Yeah, I mean, he's down 41 to 29 workers, which is bad, but mules are pretty good. And army supply is fairly even here, so I like that we're putting some pressure on the Zerg player, forcing him to make some more units instead of just droning his face off here. But I don't know if this is enough Marine tank.
Yeah, PSiArc really trying his luck on RiSky a little bit. I mean, he picks off a queen or two, but he has committed everything, and that Medivac, it's not in position to save that tank. You got to go back and save it.
Got it. Nicely done. That was dangerous, but he managed to pull it off.
That was like a tank and 5 Marines for like 2 queens and a few lings, maybe? I don't know if that was worth it.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like he needed to force RiSky to make some stuff. And he did. Ended up losing a couple Marines. Kept the tank alive, by the way. This tank has got 3 kills, so he's doing pretty good for himself.
Third CC on the way for PSiArc behind this, and he has gone for a Banshee, which I think is probably the best thing a Terran can do when there's a Zerg who's opened roaches, because it forces them into their next tech or forces them to go for very committed aggression.
Yeah, just RiSky is so up in economy right now. He has been droning his face off behind this. He made just enough units to handle that attack and then went right back to droning. He's got 54 with 6 more on the way. Even with that early roach aggression, he's just well on his way to having 70 workers around 7 or 8 minutes for sure. Banshee going to sneak on in. Cloak is not done yet, so the Banshee's not as dangerous as it otherwise could be. But I mean, we are definitely have Overseers as a potential unit here. There are none out yet, but oh, there is one out. There's a single Overseer out in that units tab. Got a Spore Crawler here inside the main base, and the third. Yeah, PSiArc is behind, and I'm just not sure what he does to get back into this thing.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't like any critical moment in which it's like, oh, PSiArc just suddenly fell behind, but no, just the opener seemed to work out just well enough for RiSky that he's got himself a nice lead. It's not like a critical lead or anything like that in which PSiArc has no chance of winning, but he definitely is in a bit of a tougher spot to come back from. Now, the way he's going to be approaching this match is that he's actually going to be following this up with mech play, which is really interesting.
Is he going for the race car mech then? Yeah, it looks like it is. Cyclones, Hellions here.
Oh, and actually going for multiple Banshees as he gets his Hyperflight rotors. So going for a third Banshee. And that could actually be a very good decision for him right now, because RiSky is actually making a lot of roaches here. I don't know if these are just defensive roaches, but it's a lot of roaches coming out of RiSky.
Yeah, and a Hyperflight rotor Banshee squad showing up would really cause some problems for RiSky here in the next couple of minutes. I mean, roaches are good and all, but they definitely can't shoot up, and they definitely suffer when dealing with these particular units. So I like this. I like that PSiArc is going for this. I feel like more Terrans should use just super speedy Banshees because it's hard to kill them. They can outrun Overseers even if they do have the speed upgrade, and as a result, it's hard to chase them down and kill them with anything. So Banshees are cruising about. They are a little bit flimsy, and so if they do start taking direct hits, it's not long before they die. But for now, 3 Banshees making themselves known by killing a bunch of creep tumors here. That might be enough to get RiSky to make a Spire at this stage, or maybe a Hydralisk Den, but production tab says no, absolutely not. More roaches.
I think a Hydralisk Den would be good. Yeah, for RiSky, it makes me wonder if he was just going to try and creep highway his way across, and that's exactly what he's going to do. So he's going to actually just be going for a frontal push. I was wondering if he'd go for a Nidus, because you need to get anti-air over on your opponent's side of the map. But the fact that RiSky is just trying so hard to get this creep out there again really makes me think he's just going to move across the map with all of his roaches, and then all of his queens are just going to waddle forward as well to provide cover for these units.
And the Banshees are starting to work away on these Ravagers. No anti-air here at all. There's a single queen in the mix. You're never going to hit those with Corrosive Bile.
Yeah,
unless PSiArc just absolutely
the rest of the queens, though.
Yep, queens are slow waddling their way up here. They're
so
not on
Zerg.
creep right now.
RiSky's maxed out at 9 minutes, just with tons of roaches. Now, PSiArc, he's dug in pretty well, though. I mean, he doesn't have a ton of siege tanks, but the ones he have are behind a very nice wall. He's got Hellbats and Cyclones to buffer. He is still down about 50, 60 supply, though. It's going to be a tough hold regardless. The Queens are chasing forward. It's really all going to be about whether the Banshees are going to be able to help clean enough of this up, but for now, the 5 Queens are enough to prevent them just from wiping out all these roaches. So PSiArc taking damage at his third base here.
Yeah, he might just straight lose it at this stage. The corrosive
Oh
vials are focusing down quite nicely.
That command
And
center's in trouble, I think.
It is going to go down here unless we do focus. There it is. Corrosive vials do go down. Queens are doing a good job focusing on the Banshees as they can. Taking down that Overseer would not be a bad decision here from PSiArc, but the Overseer does manage to make it back. Third base is toast. We are officially a 4-base to a 2-base right now where the Zerg is up, and that is not a good place to be at all.
No, a very tough spot for a meching Terran to come back from. And to make matters worse, there's going to be Swarm Host on the way for RiSky, which are just going to begin whittling him down. RiSky has basically all the freedom in the world to do whatever he wants this game. He's in such a good spot. Oh, this tank misrallied.
What the? Where's that even trying to go?
I think PSiArc's walls might have betrayed him there, and it was like rallied out at the front or something. Maybe?
I don't know. Magfield Accelerator coming in here, which honestly, Race Car Mike does really good against Roaches, not so well against Ravagers, and without Vipers, it could be hard to handle this. Oh, the Swarm Host are present now. The Transfusers are keeping everybody alive, and PSiArc just knows it. He knows. He sees the Swarm Host. He says he has no answer for that at all, decides to just tap out.
Yeah, PSiArc not dragging that one out, realizing that he was in a lot of trouble there. Now, it is a best of 5, though. All these series in Afreeca World are at least a best of 5. 2 best of 5s and then a best of 7, usually. Our next map is going to be King's Cove.
Yep, let's go ahead, hop on in there. It's going to be, I don't know. I really feel like RiSky controlled that match from the start to the finish. Just fantastic with the early Roach Ravager aggression. Did not kill PSiArc, but did manage to kind of slow him down a little bit and then just droned up behind it, out macroed the Terran player 100%, and then just kind of rolled it from there. Kind of just played it on the fly, decided to go Swarm Host, and you just can't defend against Swarm Host with the composition that that PSiArc was going with there. So rough stuff for sure. All right, let's see if we've got both players in here. We do. They're both ready to go. Going to be red and blue. Happy to have everybody around here today for our first match here, RiSky versus PSiArc. We've got Keen and Creator involved in our next best of 5. Should be a pretty fantastic time for everybody who is fans of StarCraft 2 this evening or this morning, depending where you are on Earth. And yeah, let's get into game number 2 here. Going to be on King's Cove, the ladder edition. Just trying to get that thing started.
Yes, away we go. Sorry guys, just taking care of some admin stuff. We are not on the sidebar of Team Liquid because I submitted the event at the wrong time, but then I submitted. I sought to correct it, but that has not been done yet.
Yeah, it could be hard to get the attention of an admin over there sometimes.
Yeah, it definitely can. All right, here we are. It's a best of 5. Continuing on, spawning up in the top left-hand side of the map, it's the Zerg player representing Britain. It's RiSky.
And spawning in the bottom right from the nation of Japan is the blue Terran player, PSiArc.
Already a low ground wall off for PSiArc, so that's something interesting.
Yeah, it just starts off here. I mean, maybe not worried at all about a repeat of the Roach attack in game number 1. I feel like you maybe should be, though.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right how it could be a possibility for RiSky to go for a repeat on that. It's such a strong rush. However, some Terrans like these low ground wall-offs, and I mean, the Roach Ravager rushes, while they're very good at times, they're not the most common thing in the meta these days, I feel.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know that it's crazy common.
It's one of those things. It happens just enough that you gotta be wary of it.
But yeah, that spawning pool getting started now back home for RiSky. Overlord is scouting across the map. No interest in drone scouting here. Zerg players in general feel like they can find proxies without too much trouble. It drives me crazy because we do see games, even at the highest level, where somebody just doesn't catch the proxy with their Overlord scouting, and then they die to a 3-racks like 2 minutes later. And it could be avoided, guys, but whatever, it's cool. If you're willing to lose those games for the sake of one extra drone mining in the first couple of minutes of the game, I understand the economic advantage, but it hurts. It hurts when I see it. Not happening today, though, seems like.
No, not just yet. And then PSiArc, yeah. Low ground wall off, and then, which is interesting. I'm a big fan of it. Honestly, it's a very cool, different play to make. I mean, there doesn't seem to be a consensus on why you don't ever do it. Of course, cheeses possibly and whatnot, but I mean, yeah, we'll see how this is going to go. PSiArc now got his natural base already walled off, which allows the Terran to sort of breathe a sigh of relief. And then just focus solely on the other side of the map, really.
Reaper shows up, says, I did not get wasted by a bunch of roaches on the way over already, so that's good news.
Yeah, he's doing a lot better than the last Reaper.
Yeah. Yeah, no scouting at all last game. And then just instantly died outside of the natural. Bad times.
Well,
Bad times for Reaper.
I guess he kind of did his job scouting the roaches.
That's true. I mean, I guess he knew exactly what RiSky was doing, so that counts. Third base from RiSky up north right now. Just really going for very, very standard Zerg play. This is, I mean, every Zerg is doing this these days. You can just go, you know, hatch gas pool, make a couple queens, get speed, go for that third hatch as soon as Zergly possible. And then from there, you can pretty much do whatever you want. Maybe get some scouting information off. I do like the Overlords kind of hanging out, seeing what's going on. He knows it's not a one-base play from PSiArc, so he's pretty comfortable with his 3 bases, getting those saturated up. Nicely done. The Reaper's still alive. As speed is not done yet. The Reaper can have some time. He sees no lair. He sees no second gas. And he sees that gas was pulled off there in the main base from RiSky. So he knows this is nothing aggressive whatsoever. Unless it's some kind of a crazy Ling flood, which is generally bad against Terran at this stage of the game. He doesn't have to worry about much of anything from RiSky here for the next couple of minutes at least.
Yeah, bad versus Hellions, that's for sure. And Hellions more common than they say maybe were in the past. Interestingly enough, though, PSiArc, getting a quick second factory out is something that's definitely noteworthy here.
Yep, seems to indicate he's going to go for more of that mech, whether it's race car or not. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see him go for a mech just the way that he wants to go for it. And it's actually going to be a quick blue flame coming out of the Terran player. Is this going to be like a blue flame Hellbat attack or something? Or maybe just Hellion drops?
It could be, and it could be really strong here today, too. Just because Hellbat pushes are incredibly good if you don't have the Roach count or the Banelings to handle it. Ling Queen can do it if you control extremely well and you have enough, but Overlord does scout in, sees the starport without a tech lab, says I don't have to worry about Cloak Banshees, and ends up taking a look at the factory there, too, with the tech lab, and it's researching.
I love how PSiArc boosted that medivac the second it got out. Just because he's like, I hope RiSky's not looking, go, go, go. Which is actually a very valid thing, because the medivac is a bit of a giveaway that the Terrans maybe is going to be looking to go for some aggression. So that's actually a very good scout for RiSky. He's got a Roach Warren on the way, so he can make roaches, which are not going to be affected at all by Infernal Pre-Igniter.
No, definitely not. I mean, no. No, not at all. So the Roach Warren finishing up. We've got PSiArc cruising across the map here. Lings are in scouting positions. They do find the medevac nicely scouted there, Zerglings. Doing your job for sure.
Now, it is important to note that in a head-on fight, the Roaches will definitely beat the Hellions, but there's a chance that some Hellions can just sneak in with their blue flame and just absolutely fry up a bunch of drones before they get picked off. Looks like we are seeing RiSky panicking a little bit here, but good reaction. Throws up an Evo, trying to distract his opponent, sort of guide those Hellions away. The Hellions running in behind the third base, frying up the Lings, but then there's some unloaded in the main base as well, killing off 5 drones so far. Is that all he's going to get, though?
That's all he's going to get, LaughNgamez. Oh, and the medevac gets picked off as it tries to get out of there, too. RiSky handling that like a pro. Honestly, 5 drones down for a multi-pronged blue flame Hellion attack at your first base and your third base. Insanely well handled, honestly.
Yeah, very well done.
I've been in similar situations before, and I did not lose 5 drones, I can tell you that much. So, well done. Lings, Queens, Roaches as necessary. Fantastic job. Following up, additional factories here from PSiArc. Definitely going for some style of mech. Liberator hanging out across the map. So we're going to be trying to see if there's a third base they can knock down, but there is not a third base yet here from PSiArc.
No, there isn't. It's floating over, so it at least is finished up.
Yeah, but nothing to harass here. And harassing it with Blue Flame Hellions and tanks is not going to be a good idea anyway, as the Lings decide to head on back home. Recognizing we are going to see some mech here, and as a result, my Zerglings are not going to be as effective in direct confrontations. So we'll just make sure they stay home for base defense for the time being. Fourth base on the way from RiSky.
Oh,
Magfield Accelerator. Oh, didn't even get a single shot off before she gets picked out of the sky. And yeah, it looks like it is going to be a race car here with the Magfield Accelerator upgrade coming in. Cyclones in production. Infestation pit coming in for those Vipers that are so necessary versus this composition. Roaches are going to start losing their viability as the Cyclone count starts to increase. And yeah, RiSky seems to know what he's up to here. PSiArc also just getting to his composition that he wants. And on 3 bases, he should be able to pull it off without too much issue.
Yeah, I'm curious if we'll be seeing fourth base go up for PSiArc relatively soon, because that's sort of one of the staples of the modern New Age mech, in a sense. And there we go, fourth CC on the way, as the Terrans realizing how important that economy is. Now, in comes some Hellions for PSiArc. They're going to try and get on in. They might sneak by those Roaches. They're trying to slip through. 2, 3 of them make it by, so looks like a few drones may get roasted up by these, but Roaches are in pursuit, so not a ton of damage getting done there.
Yeah, I mean, 3 is not horrible, I guess. I mean, again, that huge attack a couple minutes ago only got 5, so...
That's true. But still, that was like 6 Hellions for 3 drones, so...
Yeah,
I don't know.
Not ideal.
The supply definitely tells a story this game right now, and we're actually seeing 17 Swarm Host on the way for RiSky, so this could just be a bit of a dismantling that we're watching right now as once that Nidus network is done, I don't know if PSiArc's going to be able to stand up to it.
Yeah, I just... That Nidus is so close, and this is not a great... I mean, it's a pretty mobile composition PSiArc is going for here, but you can really just out kind of Nidus the tanks.
You can just Nidus everywhere.
Yeah, and the tanks really can't keep up, especially if they're going to be in siege mode. 28 more Lings in production. Where's the Nidus Worm? Nidus Worm up here to the north of the natural, actually. It's almost like he's going Swarm Hosts, but
well, he is, so...
Indeed, he's ready to go.
Yeah, let's see it. Nidus
there it is.
on the left, Nidus to the north. Here comes in that first wave of Locust, or it should be going in just a second here.
Bit of an attack at the fourth base of PSiArc. Doesn't really do much, gets chased away, but the Locusts are coming in entirely unopposed into the natural
this is gonna
base.
hurt. Fortunately
Yeah,
for Terran, they can
immediately.
lift their buildings, but...
Yeah.
Oh, these Hellions and Cyclones getting caught out by the Roaches. Now, the Lings kind of get just fried up immediately, but the Hellions and Cyclones aren't actually going to be able to take all this on. So, PSiArc going to be losing a significant chunk of his army. Actually, he doesn't have a lot going for him right now. Had to lift off his natural base.
He's at 68 total army supply right now. Not looking good. Pushing on in with Lings and Ravagers. Another Nidus comes up along the left side to replace the one that was picked off previously. Baneling Nest on the way back home. Crosabile's getting some decent hits off on this army. Tanks firing from distance there, but here come the Locusts. The Blue Flame Hellions, or Hellbats are now here.
These poor tanks are just getting annihilated by these Locusts. They're all going to be landing here. The count is pretty much just being wiped. The Liberators are shooting at the Ravagers. However, unfortunately for them, Ravagers can corrosive bile, so a lot of those Liberators going to be going down. PSiArc is still holding on, surprisingly, but looking at the supply right now, he's just over half the supply of RiSky.
It's not good.
And he's actually down in army supply. Yeah, less than half army supply.
Yeah, substantially. Getting doubled up in any of those numbers is bad for anyone in StarCraft 2. And StarCraft 1, let's be honest. But yeah, fourth base is technically alive, and it is a planetary fortress. Taking some corrosive biles. The repair is real, though. Mule's forced to repair, which is not income for PSiArc here. Thor's in production. Replacement tanks present. One gets corrosive bile down, attacking to the natural base of more Locusts, taking out 15 SCVs before the response is there. The pull does happen again a little bit late there.
Yeah, feels rough.
I mean, it's 44 SCVs right now from PSiArc.
I mean, he's trying to hold on, but for what? He's just getting whittled down more and more, whereas RiSky's getting all of his upgrades. He's getting up a Spire. He's probably just going to take the entire map, honestly. He's just a happy Zerg with creep at his Terran's doorstep, and the Terran can't do a lot to break free right now. This is the power of Swarm Host right now. Like, he's just going to keep getting punished for it, and there's not a lot that he can do. In comes this wave of Locusts. The Thor and Missile Turret doing their best, but units are going to be going down, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're not wiping out the entire army, but they're taking down tanks, which is their goal, and their free units. Bailing's going to come on in here to help take down that 4th planetary, kill all the SCVs as well. The base does end up exploding. 3 base in it to a 5 basing with a 6th base on the way. Zerg Greater Spire on the way. GG! RiSky takes the 2-0 lead.
Yeah, 2 tanks and a Thor go down to that wave of Locust, then PSiArc, or then RiSky just moves on in and finishes him off.
Yeah, looking at the graph here, I mean, it's fairly even in army supply for a bit. And then about 8 minutes, just skyrockets and stays that way for RiSky. So great job, bud. Great job there for sure.
Okay, we'll be getting on into that next game as soon as we can. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning on in. Make sure to let your friends know that this match is going on.
Yeah, for sure. Share us on Twitter, on Facebook. If you're in any Discord servers specific to StarCraft, you can share the link there too. I'm sure people will be happy to know there's professional StarCraft going on right now. And yeah, we're going to get into game number 3 here fairly shortly. More ZVT action. Again, the next matchup is Creator versus Keen, which is going to be a ton of fun here as well. But still got the ZVT action going on right now.
Yeah, actually a rematch from our previous finals.
Yeah, which was a lot of fun there. So looking forward to those players getting reacquainted.
Okay. Let's get everyone
See if
on
we can
into
get
the
these
lobby
guys
here.
on in here. Yeah.
Okay. We'll make sure everyone is ready, then we can jump right into it.
Yep. There we go. Got the good luck, have fun tossed out there by RiSky and PSiArc, exhibiting the good banner that we like to see, especially at the highest levels of StarCraft 2. And getting on into new repugnancy here for game number 3.
Yeah, away we go. This TvZ continuing on. Not looking too good for our Terran player, though.
No. No, definitely not. I would be shocked if he won this game, but crazier things have happened for sure.
Spawning up in the top right-hand side of the map, it's PSiArc, the Japanese Terran player.
And spotting in the bottom left-hand corner, the blue Zerg player. He's British and he's RiSky.
Once again, a low-ground wall-off coming out of PSiArc, so he knows his style and he likes it. But regardless of how fancy your wall-off is, RiSky seems just to be able to kill him. Interesting. Okay, just, yeah, low-ground wall-off.
Yeah, seems pretty safe, honestly.
Barracks gas for
Yep.
PSiArc, so no gas first.
And just the hatch here from RiSky. No quick gas at all. Just going to go ahead and wait a little bit. Get that timing lined up for speed for his Zerglings. And yeah, I mean, no aggression at all here for RiSky. This pool is late enough that we're not going to see the same thing we saw in game number 1 for sure. And there it is. There's your gas and your pool. Overlord cruising across as the rain comes down here on New Repugnancy. Reaper on the way, Orbital Command coming in, and there's the Natural. So Natural base getting thrown up by PSiArc there in the production tab, as everybody can see. Gotta say, love the production tab. It was a nice addition to StarCraft for sure. if you watch a lot of the older StarCraft non-remastered casting, you don't have a production tab. You're just kind of trying to see what comes out of the buildings as stuff happens. You just don't have any general concept at all of what's coming until it's there. So 4 Lings on the way. Reaper cruising out here too. Speed getting started now. 2 Queens. And then a third base should be sneaked out here by PSiArc at some point. And he does. The drone manages to sneak out and get that third base. The Reaper almost shows up to deny that, which is really annoying. But RiSky's gotten pretty lucky with the drone timings here all 3 games. Getting that third base whenever he wants it.
Oh, that drone. 1 shot away from going down. So PSiArc bruising up a couple of these. But the Queen going to be there to protect the drones now, so the Reaper not really going to be able to finish any of those off, most likely. PSiArc is committing to the main base, or commits and then quickly backs out. And this game is just continuing on. Hellions once again for PSiArc. No surprise there. The question is, what's he going to do to RiSky this game?
I don't know. I really kind of feel like PSiArc needs to take the excuse me, try to mute there. Take the advantage, I would say. Honestly, like a battle cruiser rush, I'd feel like do pretty good here, but
I think that's a fine idea. Really keep the pressure on the Zerg. Because, I mean, like, we've had those games in which he's gone for, like, the sort of odd-timed second factory, which hasn't really done him any good. Something to keep RiSky on the back foot.
Hey, Fusion Core.
Oh, good call by Falcon, guys.
Hey. So yeah, he makes the Viking to make sure no scouting overlords can get in, and he throws up the Fusion Core in the hardest place to scout for RiSky. And he's going for it, man. Now, you can handle this with about 5 Queens directly engaging with the BC. But you have to have them in position, and you have to have them. Baneling Nest not going to really help here, unless they're offensive Banelings. But yeah, I mean, at this point, PSiArc is just like, I just have some Hellions and a Reaper, don't mind me. Nothing crazy going on over in my house. I'm going to kill your overlord just because that's what I do. I'm not hiding anything at all. Why would you think such a thing?
A Terran player with something to hide is a dangerous Terran, that's for sure. So PSiArc going to be busting out the battle cruiser rush. Let's see. Is he going to get Yamato cannon or anything like that with it, or is he just going to go for like the 1 BC opener into whatever comes next? That's the question.
Indeed. Yeah, and getting the third base behind it here. Bit of engagement at the front there. PSiArc, again, trying to keep the pressure on the creep as much as possible so it doesn't get insanely out of hand here in the first couple minutes of the game. Yeah, 2 Queens in production, even at this stage, indicate we're going to, I mean, that's going to be 8 Queens on the field here in a couple minutes. He'll have the anti-air to deal with it. And he's tossing up some spores. It's just a matter of positioning. And can he be there when the BC jumps in? Because it's very, very close to getting there. But in the meantime, RiSky's been almost entirely left alone here. There's been a little bit of some Hellion harass, but the Queens have handled that very well. 0 drones have died. RiSky's at 54 workers at 5.5 minutes, which is not a good place to be for the Terran player anyway. And here comes the battle cruiser. It's done. Is it going to jump immediately?
Where's he going?
Probably
He's
should.
going. There he is. Battle cruiser teleports into the main base. Some Banelings start morphing. Banelings can't hit battle cruisers. Unless maybe a Queen throws them or something. That being said, though, RiSky should be able to defend this just fine. The battle cruiser really out of position, or really not in a great position as the Queens are there. Now in comes Hellbats, though. Yeah.
Yeah, great splits on those Hellbats, so the Banelings don't get any splash damage on them. They are light units, so there's the bonus damage. The Queens have to engage here versus the Hellbats. The battlecruiser should really be getting some more stuff done here, but instead it's just kind of flirting around the edges of that third base. He should not have been doing that. It felt like PSiArc was trying to control 2 things at once and didn't quite get the battlecruiser where he wanted it. There was only a Spore Crawler defending that third base. The drones didn't even run all that far away. And the battlecruiser gets out of there with 2 kills, period, which he got at the very beginning. No additional kills after that. Does escape with his life, which is a nice thing, but that needed to get way more damage done.
Yeah, that was a beautiful hold by RiSky, just doing everything that he needed to do. He wasn't sure what was coming his way, but he prepared, and his build's very nice to accept that battlecruiser rush. Lots of Queens. And then the BCs, they can target down drones, but he was trying to micro that Hellbat attack while it was going on. And so this is actually just a pretty rough spot for PSiArc already. It might be like, oh, PSiArc hasn't taken any damage this game, but no, guys, he is behind. He's in trouble just due to the nature that RiSky has been an uncontested Zerg, really.
Moderately contested, but yeah.
Yeah,
virtually uncontested.
There was an attempt.
Yes. All right, so going back into Blue Flame, going back into Magfield Accelerator. 11 mutas on the way, though.
Yeah.
Yes. Fire finishes and immediately into Mutalisk, which 3 Cyclones on the way. I don't know. Cyclone not terrible pound for pound versus mutas.
No, they can push them back. They can deter them. They're not the quickest at killing them, but
no.
oh, this BC teleports. Kind of random location on the map towards the 4th base. Got to be careful as there are these mutas out, but the muta's most likely just going to go right across the map, and that's exactly where they're heading. There is a turret getting up at the 3rd base for PSiArc, so that could really help him out. As long as the turret's there, the Cyclones can sort of just hang on, lock onto the mutas, and stay safe around it.
So there's one turret here. The repair needs to be about now if he's going to save that turret, and he doesn't. Response time is not there. SCV is forced into full retreat here. Overseer chasing the battlecruiser around.
This.
There's their lock-on, and
good micro too from RiSky.
Yeah, getting out of there, breaking that lock-on as necessary.
Cyclones are picking off a few of the mutas, and only 4 SCVs have gone down so far, so it's not a terrible spot for PSiArc just yet. Gonna want to re-establish that base or get all of his workers back mining there. Meanwhile, this BC in the main base is finally getting some work done, as it's sort of just been toitering along at the back here, doing whatever.
Yeah, not doing too bad. I kind of feel like he's got a jump available, though. He can get out of there.
Oh, he does.
And he's out. That's really nice from PSiArc. Okay, I'm kind of liking this game compared to the last one for sure, for PSiArc anyway.
Yeah, he didn't get a lot done with the initial opening, but then RiSky committed to the mutas, which also didn't get a lot done. Battlecruiser getting healed on it. Fourth on the way for PSiArc, making Hellions, making Cyclones, still getting a couple of Thors. And then extra armory going up. So yeah, not a bad spot for PSiArc at all, I feel. And something that's also very important to point out right now is that RiSky, he's going to be going for some aggression. Lots of Lings, lots of Banes heading towards his opponent. He could just be going for a kill move right now. Battlecruiser flying by all the mutas, but yeah, RiSky is going to be looking to get some damage done, and if he doesn't, his position isn't going to be great, because look at this. There's going to be +2 armor out for PSiArc, whereas RiSky has no other upgrades besides the +1 flyer attack. So these Hellbats, Thors, and Cyclones, if PSiArc goes for a push, I don't know if RiSky is going to be able to kill it and shut it down.
Yeah, that upgrade steadily coming in. That +2 armor is going to be great. Ultralisks going to be the plan here for RiSky for his T3, but I mean, these Lings and Banelings and Mutas are just not getting much done at all here today.
Yeah, Ultras aren't the most anti-mech unit. Now, the one thing that RiSky really does have going for him is the mobility and the ability to backstab with these Mutas. So I think if you're PSiArc, what you got to be doing right now is that you just got to be building a ton of missile turrets. Or Baneling attack comes on in for RiSky, but that did not get a lot done there.
No, they broke the door open, which is nice, but didn't supply block PSiArc because he has so many supply depots out there. It gets rebuilt instantly. RiSky, maybe just trying to free up some supply there. Knows his Banelings aren't going to be all that good.
Yeah, look at this for PSiArc, though. I'm actually really liking his spot. There's always a chance that he can make a misstep and that RiSky will be able to, say, pull him apart to a critical degree. But he's stepping out, he's securing his 4th base, he doesn't really have to worry about a direct attack or simply just dying. RiSky going in with his mutas, but quickly gonna regret that. They all almost go down there, pulled out just in time.
That's a lot of red on there.
Some lucky mutas there, I guess. Good control by RiSky, really, no luck.
Yeah, tissue regeneration, making sure the mutas will survive to fight another day here. Creep spread almost up to this 4th and going up the ramp to the 3rd here. RiSky's creep is fantastically impressive.
All these Lings coming on in.
Okay, yeah, surround on these Cyclones. There are not enough Blue Flame Hellions here at all. Everybody's going to die in that scenario. the Thors show up. I'm not sure that the Thors want to engage with these Lings either, honestly, but Planetary Fortress support may be going to be enough.
8 Ultras on the way for RiSky, so I mean his upgrades aren't great, but he might just not care and that he'll just make a ton of units and kill PSiArc. That being said, these Thors, they're going to be pretty tanky. It's tough to say how this game is going to play out.
Going for 1-1 for the Lings and the Banelings and the Ultralisks here, but still a bit of a way from getting their adrenal glands. Going to finish fairly shortly here too for those Lings, but yeah, man, Thor count is big. Thors do fairly well versus Ultras.
Yeah, they do.
Mutas picking off stuff, being annoying, being harassy, as they generally like to do here. +3 vehicle plating on the way here. 2 vehicle and ship plating.
I feel like PSiArc's time to attack was 2 minutes ago.
The problem is he lost all of those cyclones and he just got really gun
he did,
shy.
so that really set him back. I felt like he should have just consolidated and gone for the attack. Now he's just sitting back and it's giving RiSky a lot of time to really think about and make moves against this mech style. Ultras eating a lot of tank shots, eating some Thor shots. Meanwhile, there's a ton of Lings queued up for a counterattack. And while PSiArc, I mean, his army is pretty decent. It's not what you want in the long run. Thors are retreating versus these Ultras, which there is a lot, of course, a ton of tanks getting shots off on the Ultras, though, picking some off.
This creep spread, too. It just really
beautiful.
makes PSiArc. He's just unwilling to push onto the creep, which is fair, but man, it's going to take you forever to push the back far enough to hit anything.
Yeah, it will, that's for sure. And now we're seeing RiSky get up Pathogen Glands 2-2 on the way. And then just taking so many bases as the Zerg player. And his bank is building. If you are a Terran and you're making Hellbats, Thors, and tanks, you gotta kill your opponent. And I think PSiArc finally realizing that is starting to move on out. Liberator's getting set on up. There's a few Ultras at the front lines for RiSky, but they're not going to be enough to take this. It's all in the counterattack. That being said, though, there is Hellions and Cyclones waiting to intercept these Lings. Great move by PSiArc having that covered.
Oh, but the third base is an SCV graveyard. 15 SCVs going down there.
Oh, look at these
Adrenal
Hellbats,
gland.
though. Man, they do work versus Lings.
Yeah, that blue flame is beautiful. And PSiArc, to his credit, pushing out onto the creep here, recognizing he needs to get something done here now.
There's like no anti-Liberator, as a matter of fact, and there's like 4 Liberators for PSiArc, so RiSky actually just attacking underneath these, but this could work out pretty well for the Terran. Liberators getting shots off. The Thors are just going to annihilate the Mutas and then set their sights on the Ultras. They actually are doing a bit of overkill there, but in the end, all the Ultras get cleaned out. And this could look doable for PSiArc. He's taken some damage back at home, but it's not like he's completely fallen apart or anything like that.
No.
And he's still pushing forward.
Yeah, Thor's just engaging with whatever happens across their path at the moment. If he can cancel that 2-2.
Oh, it's not going to be in time.
No. That's so close, though. Almost got the 1.
Yeah, almost.
He needs to bring some SCVs to repair these Thors. I don't know if he can get them across the
PSiArc
map,
might be a little bit overcommitted with this army. There's just so many Lings in. Oh, crash. The Banelings.
Yeah. The Lings and Banes doing some serious work. There's a queen attacking her own creep tumor there for a second.
Yeah, a
Bit of a
lot going
misclick
on right now.
on RiSky's side. 116 to 94 army supply. We got some Infestors and Neuroparasite finishing up here for RiSky. So he's going to plan on Neuroparasiting the Thors, I have to imagine. Just kind of crush on through here, but
PSiArc's back row really fell to the wayside as all this was going on. I mean, he still got out a decent chunk of army, but his third base was denied mining for a long time. He had some extra CCs that were canceled. This CC not getting finished. So the great economy that Terran needs to keep this going, not necessarily here. And RiSky is maxed out once again. It's just been making so many Ultras this game.
yeah, more and more Infestors getting pumped out here too. 20 Lings in production at the same time. The Liberators, they can really get some stuff done here if they kind of set up in good positions. That said, the Corruptor Ball is fairly big now. We just caught a glimpse of them down to the south. And there are a ton of Infestors with Neural Parasite. I don't know what PSiArc can do at this stage. 194 to 178 overall supply. I mean, he's going to try to set up and get something done, but
So many Liberators are here for the Terran player. A Fungal goes down, getting some connections on them. That being said, Liberator's got a fair bit of health. And RiSky is going to have to dive on this to clean it up. That's the way you deal with tanks and Liberators. You can't just sort of go cautiously about it. You have to make one big decision. Nice assimilation there by RiSky as he steals a Thor and is actually using it to kill the Liberators of his opponent. More neural parasites going down, and RiSky says it's go time. PSiArc could be in trouble here.
Yeah, the blue Thors are getting some damage on their red counterparts. Everybody in the sky is down. And PSiArc technically survives that engage, but he just doesn't have a whole lot of stuff left here at the front. The Corruptors are left with nothing to do.
Oh, look at this side of the map. I did not see that.
Fourth base down.
Yeah, done.
Too many Ultralisks.
These Thors are going to try and do their best versus these Ultras, but they're outnumbered. The Vikings, unlike the Heart of the Swarm cinematic, are not helping out at all.
Did that really help in the
I mean,
cinematic?
they could at least try. They could body buffer it. Maybe would have helped out. PSiArc kills off a base as this is going on, but the concern is the fact that RiSky has just been churning out Ultralisks like a madman.
Yeah, he's got 4 at a time in production right now, which is absolutely stupidly insane. Assimilation successful somewhere on the map here. Ling's on top of the Vikings. Army supply suddenly 56 for PSiArc, down to 35 SCVs. Lings are free inside your house, which is never where you want to be. RiSky's on 100 bases, and PSiArc is done. Like, I don't want to call it before it's technically over, but by golly, there's just not much left here for the Terran player at all.
Yeah, I felt like this was a good game and that PSiArc definitely had a chance to take it. But in the end, maybe his macro just fell apart a little bit too much because, I mean, it's not like RiSky was harassing him super hard or anything. I felt PSiArc could have maybe kept it together. In the end, though, RiSky just a relentless Zerg. Making Broodlords now. Going to be looking for that kill move. He might not even wait.
Yeah.
He's not even waiting. Okay. Maybe he does.
All right. Broodlord count's insane. PSiArc sees it. He taps out. There's your 3-0 victory for the Zerg player